There's something to be said about being watched, especially when you don't see it coming. Some people are determined to get closer, get something that they want no matter the cost. Today, we have clips of a few times disturbing stalkers were caught in the act, and their would-be victims managed to catch it all on camera. Maybe next time when you're alone, listen to your gut, or pull out your phone and start recording. You never know the kind of trouble you can save yourself from with just a little quick thinking. Car stalking in driveway. Sometimes it's impossible to get away from a determined stalker. No matter how many times this person tried to shake them off their trail, he was always there, waiting. Several times they saw the car parked outside, waiting or driving right where they were going to be. The driver looped several times to ensure that they were being followed, and sure enough, he kept coming back. The video is loop after loop until the driver gets to their house and finds the would-be stalker parked outside. Being caught, the driver quickly speeds off after him, only to finally see him sometime later and continues to tail them soon across town. The video ends with an abrupt conclusion as the person followed the stalker to the freeway before calling the police and reporting the car and plate number. The scary part is that while this breaks stalking laws, there's not a lot that can be done. All you can do is keep safe and keep an eye out for worst-case scenarios like this. Stalker at house. Home should be where we feel safest, but that isn't always the case. Unfortunately for this person, their stalker made it all the way to their property after driving by a few times. You can see as the car circles by, just watching for any sort of activity. The car opens up their window about midway, throwing a Gatorade bottle of urine into their driveway. It's caught with multiple cameras. You'd think an entire bottle of urine would do the trick, but unfortunately, things aren't that simple. Authorities can't simply use the sample to catch someone as easy as it seems, because you never know where that came from in the first place. This is by far not the first time they dealt with it, and unfortunately, according to the original poster, it wouldn't be the last. Frantic woman followed by car. Sometimes if it's impossible to make that feeling disappear when you're out in public and feel like you're being followed. No matter what you do, it'll always be in the back of your mind, reminding you that you're not safe. After leaving the store, this woman caught an interaction where she was being followed. As things progress, you can see that the woman can get out of her car and into the parking lot, but the vehicle continues to follow her. The driver of the white car doesn't get out, simply sitting in his car and waiting.
He's been following me since I left Winco like 30 minutes ago.
Luckily, she can meet up with her brother-in-law, who suddenly cuts off the white Mercedes and chases the man off.
Here is.
While it's unclear what would happen, the woman's frantic response is hardly uncalled for. People go missing for much less, meaning she could have very quickly been a victim of trafficking if things had gone south. Frightening road rage caught on tape. Road rage is terrifying because you never truly know what someone will do. Unfortunately, sometimes that same terror can follow you home, and suddenly the fear is not of the road, but of the person who's now stalked you back to what's supposed to be safe grounds. This woman, unfortunately, was on the receiving end of some such terror. A man in a Mercedes not only followed her home, but began to block her in, refusing to let her get away.
Thinking I need to leave, but he blocked me and started to creep forward as I started to try and get away.
She tries multiple times to get out of her parking space to get away, but he moves his car so that she can't get out. In one last-ditch effort, she zooms into her garage and tries frantically to get it shut behind her, but the man zooms in after her.
I opened the garage and I zoomed straight in as fast as I could.
The camera catches the moment as he tries to block the door from closing with his bumper. Luckily, he backed off, but the woman in the car was left traumatized, unsafe as she'd been followed home by an enraged stalker and couldn't escape. Woman survives terrifying abduction. Most people will never encounter this situation, but it's hard to know how you'll handle it if you do. On the street in Philly, this woman meets a few men who seem to be friendly at first. In the following CCTV clip, the woman is grabbed and dragged by the man to the road. The man overpowers her quickly and throws her to the sidewalk, forcing her into a car. It's one of those situations that happens so fast that you might miss it if you blink. Luckily, all of this was not only caught on CCTV, but an onlooker caught the whole encounter firsthand, and she had a savior there working effortlessly to rescue her. You never know just how bad things could go, so it's best to not get caught up in what-ifs. This was a happy ending, but it's every woman's worst nightmare. This could have been the last time anyone saw her. Man attacks student after following her. Sometimes it doesn't matter what you do. People will be unhinged no matter what. This woman, a student at California State University, was approached by a man who predatorily came at her, saying he wants to make love to her.
Go ahead and tell everybody what the you're doing. What the
He'd been following her for a while, grabbing at her before she could finally record him. She unfortunately was lunged at again as he got his hands around her throat. She throws her body weight down right as the other male students pry the man off of her and get her to safety. The man then tries to fight off the rest of them, but as it turns out, he wasn't even a student. He just found the student and decided to attack her for unknown reasons. Jilted ex breaking and entering. Breakups can be rough for everyone involved. This woman seemed to be making it worse than most.
I didn't break it, you broke it.
You broke my window, you broke my TV.
She breaks into his window demanding her keys back and tries to gaslight him into thinking he broke it, shouting that he attacked her and broke the window.
Look at my arm.
That you
He did this.
I did that after you just broke the window?
She begins yelling at him as he calmly tells her the police are coming.
The police are on their way.
Okay, well help me find my fucking key.
Now, while this is less of a stalker and more of an unhappy ex, the behavior is definitely equally unhinged as she stalks around the house looking for her keys and blaming him for attacking her. In the traditional sense, it might not be a stalker, but the behavior certainly isn't that of a well-adjusted person, that's for sure. Dallas stalker shoots his shot. Not all stalkers are violent, some are just sad. This man, known as the Dallas stalker, rung up a neighbor's doorbell to try and shoot his shot. The strange man appears at the door, waiting for her to answer. She finally says hello and he tries flirting, saying he admires her and would like her number.
Hello? I ain't gonna lie, like, you beautiful as hell to me. I was gonna ask, can I?
He tries to say he's an NBA prospect, then says he does tattoos, explaining he lives downstairs and explains he's been watching her and admiring her from afar and he'd like to connect.
And I do tattoos too. So like, I'm trying to really fuck with you. Like you fun as fuck. Like when I first seen you up here, I like, damn, she fun. I live downstairs, fuck with me though.
The woman on the Ring camera does her best to dissuade him, but he doesn't seem quickly put off. Eventually she lets him down, but it's definitely not easy. I'd invest in an extra lock, or 4 at this point, just to be careful. Trying to catch my stalker. Sometimes the safest thing you can do is start recording. If you feel like you're being followed and can turn a camera on your stalker, it could save your life. YouTuber Seraph started filming her daily vlog video, filming behind her. She suddenly realizes that a man is following her and starts half running to get away from him.
Is that him?
Yep, I got him. Just keep walking. Take your first right. Okay. Stay calm, turn right. I'm moving in now.
She runs behind a fence and watches as her friend starts chasing after the stalker, catching the moment he tries to escape being caught. Unfortunately, they seemingly disappear into thin air, and they're left wondering what to do next. Judging by how the stalker was running, their best bet might be to bolt in the opposite direction. Homeowner catches Peeping Tom. Sometimes it's best to listen to your gut and let your instinct ride it out. In the case of this Peeping Tom, the homeowner's quick thinking caught a Peeping Tom in the act. Through a camera on the outside of their property, they noticed a pervert doubled over and watching a woman through a window. The man took off running nearly immediately, leaving the homeowner shocked and afraid, and they involved the police. While there was no chase caught on camera, they got everything else, so it's lucky they finally saw the man before things could escalate or get to full-blown stalking. Executive Peeping Tom caught. Stalkers are not always creepy weirdos in hooded jackets following girls around. Sometimes they're powerful, highly paid executives with a corner office. After being caught on a surveillance video, longtime 3M executive Robert Casina was caught and charged with stalking. The clip shows as the man walks gently to the window of a home in his neighborhood, peering in the window to better look at the woman sleeping inside. Fortunately, the camera finally caught this predatory behavior, as the man had been doing it for God knows how long, and it's unclear how much longer he might have gone on with it had he not been caught in the act. It's probably best to close your windows at night if you need an extra motivation. He was promptly fired, which means in this case, justice was served, but you can never be too careful out there. Woman followed to her apartment. You never really know who's watching you, and if you're unfortunate enough to find it out, you're better off being quick and confident about your movements like this woman. While walking to her apartment, you can see when the woman realizes she's being followed. A man comes out of the shadows, following her to her door and sneakily trying to force her door open behind her. She's luckily too quickly pushed her door shut and locked it. The man, mostly obscured by the darkness, can't be seen by the camera, except you can see how he tries to force it open. Even after she's locked it, he's pushing the door handles, seeing if he can make his way in. The lights shut off and it pitches him into darkness. Not sure where to go from there, he clearly had expected that to work. She was moments from disaster. If she'd been even slightly less quick, this might not have ended so well.